Hello, I'm Liese Zahabi, Assistant Professor of Design at the University of New Hampshire. Today, I will discuss the origins and trajectory of one of my projects and how it connects to larger questions about creative research and dissemination. What constitutes truth? How can society continue to engage in the shared pursuit of truth within our contemporary context of social media-fueled misinformation and political fragmentation? This project began as a response to a call for proposals from our campus's newly formed Global Racial and Social Inequality Lab, GRSIL. The lab gathered proposals for a wide variety of projects across many different humanities and arts disciplines connected to the theme, "We Hold These Truths." These projects were showcased and shared at a public event held in April 2022 in Concord, New Hampshire, and participants included faculty and students from universities and community colleges across the state. Come Back Home is a collaborative experimental project that combines the creative forces of a communication professor, who is also a songwriter and musician, a design professor, who is also a motion designer and writer, and 3 dance students, resulting in 3 video-based artworks and a short documentary that examines the themes of truth, media, information, and current events. This presentation aims to briefly describe the project and connect it to the nascent but growing practice of arts-based research, ABR. Patricia Levy describes ABR this way, quote, "Arts-based research practices are a set of methodological tools used by researchers across the disciplines during all phases of research that adapt the tenets of the creative arts to address social research questions in engaged ways in which theory and practice are intertwined," end quote. ABR enables scholars to explore research questions through an array of creative, visual, audible, performative, and written practices. Come Back Home is a strong example of ABR, showcasing creative research and making rooted in communication, visual, and performance practices. My colleague, Kevin Healy, writes and records music and often integrates research, responses to current events, and theoretical provocations into his lyrics. In response to the January 6th Capitol insurrection, he wrote the songs Come Back Home and Mine Eyes. He also composed a third instrumental song, A Constant Subground River, as part of a documentary exploring themes connected to the Holocaust. We used Kevin's music as the seed for the project. After a discussion about the intention of songs and the process Kevin used to create them, the team worked individually to bring their unique skills and disciplinary lenses to the project. I began to brainstorm ways we could construct connecting visuals. The 3 dance students explored choreographic expressions for the music. We scheduled a session to record the performances of the dance students at a studio on campus. Kevin and I captured the performances using several cameras. This was an incredibly experimental and collaborative process. The students had thoughtful and exciting ideas about ways to interpret the music through performance, but also ways to capture those movements on video. All 5 of us made suggestions in the moment as we captured take after take of the dancers. Kevin and I then divided up the footage and began the work of editing the videos and constructing each piece. He did the initial cut for Come Back Home and A Constant Subground River, and I added effects, text, and other elements. I created the design for Mine Eyes and then made tweaks based on Kevin and the dance students' feedback. The pieces went through several iterations. Come Back Home explores themes of media, truth, and misinformation. The music is dynamic and aggressive in some passages, and the dance movements, motion design effects, and images reflect that sensibility. The images infused into the piece are chaotic, gritty, and conveying directed energy. Selected words and lyrics are emphasized through typography on the screen. Mine Eyes directly explores perspectives connected to the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Here, the music is more melodic and flowing. The images include windows and eyes, referencing the lyrical motif of sight and seeing, but also include more metaphorical images connecting to other phrases and ideas in the lyrics. Images and video footage from the Capitol insurrection have also been visually merged with the movements of the dancers. A Constant Subground River is an instrumental, starting with an audio clip from the documentary it was created for. The speaker quotes a story he heard, stating that, quote, "Anti-Semitism is a constant subground river," end quote. Here, just one of the dance students choreographed and performed the entire piece, and the editing shows reflections and echoes of those movements overlapped. Slowly moving images of waves and water were infused with the footage of the performance, creating a powerful end result. The project was shared with the public at the We Hold These Truths event in April 2022 and has been shared on YouTube and Vimeo. We are working on a public-facing website that will share our process and will include video clips of all the participants discussing their individual contributions and how we collaborated together. We are also planning to submit parts of the project to film festivals and other venues. This project and other ABR projects allow researchers and creators to access different kinds of information and data from that which is accessed using other traditional research methods. As Barone and Eisner state, ABR, quote, addresses complex and often subtle interactions and provides an image of those interactions in ways that make them more noticeable, end quote. Come Back Home provides its viewers with a rich array of captured movements, music, language, and moving images, which can be interpreted and explored in many ways, while still focusing on the intended themes of truth, misinformation, news, and media. Emily Shaffritz, one of the participating students, shared, quote, there's no language barrier when it comes to dance. Movement is so universal, end quote. Music and images also convey meaning beyond language. As design educators and researchers grapple with the forms their scholarship ought to take, ABR offers innovative ways to reconsider the formats of rigorous academic work. This project demonstrates how disciplines might collaborate around a set of questions, generating meaningful research that bursts out of the traditional mold of the formal academic article, creating work that can be published in more accessible venues, speaking to a more diverse array of audiences. While solid examples of ABR that involve writing, music, theater, dance, photography, and fine art have been published and written about, design often seems to be left out of the conversation. As apps and software continue to proliferate the culture, design-making practices are accessible in exciting ways for researchers and research participants to explore ideas and enable making within the research process. It is my hope that more designers will begin to look to the framework of ABR as an alternative for the dissemination and creation of their work. Thank you for listening and watching, and you can find my contact information here if you would like to learn more about this project.